on YouTube. Today we got Dmitry Bivo, Soviet Union style. The way how he trains and everything, one of the most popular style. Let's get into it.
Dmitry Bivol stands as one of the best fighters in the world today.
You guys can tell Dmitry
Captivating
Bivo
fans
won
with
his
his
last
elegant
fight.
yet methodical Soviet style of boxing. A puzzle his opponents
The way he
can't get a
his
grip of.
punches.
However, behind the scenes lies a foundation of relentless hard work, including his strength and conditioning, as well as a resilient mentality, and central to his approach, a steadfast belief in discipline, evident in every aspect of his fighting style. In this video today, I'm going to delve into the Soviet school of boxing and its profound influence on Bivol's training regimen, while explore the mythology that could potentially shape the training methods of future boxers worldwide, as it already has begun to do so. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
How champions train.
Bivol's journey into the world of boxing is diverse and intriguing as his heritage. Born in Kyrgyzstan, Dmitry's upbringing was influenced by a blend of cultures, with a mother of Korean descent and a father hailing from Moldova. And it was in these early years, at the age of 6, Dmitry's fascination for the sweet science ignited. Spurred on by his innate athleticism and determination, he was bound for success. And under the guidance of his first trainer, Sharapov, he would shape his future and love for boxing. He said, "From a young age, Dmitry was talented. When he trained with us, he took first place in the Republic among the juniors. However, his family would later move to Russia and St. Petersburg, where Dmitry's passion only intensified. Initially,
You see that one kid working, and he's already naturally great. If you go to a boxing gym, which is
his parents envisioned a different path for their son, emphasizing academic pursuits over the brutality of boxing. Nevertheless, it was the drive that propelled him to join the prestigious boxing school at the Palace of Pioneers, where he was trained under the watchful eye of Nikolai Isayev, who is considered one of Russia's greatest trainers, and someone who instilled that traditional Soviet boxing style, which has heavily influenced Dmitry to this day. Isayev recognized Dmitry's raw talent from a young age, and played a big part in his development, foreseeing a future champion in the making. While Bivol would also meet current trainer Gennady Mazhanov, who's been with him throughout his whole professional career. But under Isayev and Mazhanov's guidance, Dmitry flourished, swiftly rising through the ranks of amateur boxing, winning multiple championships at national and international level, building up a crazy record of 268 wins and 15 defeats. Even as his boxing career flourished, Dmitry prioritized his education, enrolling in St. Petersburg University to pursue a degree in physical education and sport and health, and this has no doubt also played a part in his disciplined approach to his training, which has been so key to him since turning pro.
Soviet system.
Now, with Bivol growing up and training within the system that was created by the Soviet Union, was indeed influenced by various factors, one being rated by the Soviet
It's like he's floating.
Was indeed influenced by various factors. One was created by... Now, with Bivol growing up and training within the system that was created by the Soviet Union, was indeed influenced by various factors. One being that they viewed sports, including boxing, as a means of demonstrating superiority in the social system and ideology. Back then, a lot of these fighters were not professional, and the complete focus was on amateur boxing. And success in these international competitions, such as the Olympics, was seen as a reflection of the strength and efficiency of the Soviet regime, and especially when boxing at the time was seen as the pinnacle of combat sports. But the Soviet school therefore was renowned for a systematic and rigorous approach, producing some of the most dominant champions in sports history. Producing some of the most dominant champions in sports history. And here's an overview of some of the key aspects of why it's such a good system to follow. First up, technical mastery. The Soviet boxing emphasizes
this is like a legendary video I've been seeing on
proficiency
TikTok.
Above everything else. Fighters are trained to execute punches with precision and focusing on proper footwork and balance and defensive maneuvers. Every in and out movement is analysed and honed to perfection, ensuring boxers can deliver their strikes effectively while minimising opponents' counterattacks.
Говорят, неудобно.
Damn.
Ну такой.
What the fuck?
Смотрите, боксеры
Straight
говорят,
right.
неудобно.
Or straight left.
Next up, we have physical conditioning. Soviet boxers were known for their exceptional physical conditioning,
Wow.
with training regimens including
This
a
guy
mix
in
of
the back.
cardiovascular
This
and
is so good.
strength.
This is so good. This is one of the best workouts with fast hands right here. This one and this one. These are the ones that I use when I used to box back in my day. Right now I'm injured.
Endurance
sucks,
exercises, while a lot of the weight training included a lot
This
of
is
boxing
beautiful work.
movements you see, which is similar to modern day strength and conditioning, including landmine presses and medicine ball throws.
This one is the medicine ball. It's a pivot off the back foot. Yeah, it's all
Conditioning
great here.
sessions would often last hours for times for these athletes,
Course,
pushing them beyond
essential.
their limits. While
See, this one, yo, you guys gotta try this. for
tactical
real.
awareness was also key, as Soviet coaches placed a strong emphasis on tactical intelligence
you guys would know what
and
I'm
ring
talking
awareness. Boxers were taught to study their opponents carefully, analysing their strengths, weaknesses and tendencies, where fighters would practice and adapt strategies in response to different situations. Just think about the likes of Lomachenko, Usyk, all these former Soviet bloc fighters, all have incredible ring generalship,
Yeah,
while
it's
mental
true.
resilience was considered.
Mental is important, guys. Kashimoto trained Mike Tyson mentally before even training physically. I'm pretty sure.
just as important as the physical. Athletes were
Super
trained to maintain
important. I think
focus
having
and
a good
composure
mental
under
health
pressure, developing mental
or that
fortitude
willpower
needed to
is
overcome
like way
adversity
more important
and
than
perform at
speed.
their
Everything
best,
knows.
even in the
That's
face of
guaranteed.
fatigue or injury. While Soviet boxing training was grounded in scientific principles, with coaches drawing on sports science research to optimize performance. Training methods were constantly refined and updated based on empirical evidence, ensuring that their athletes had access to the most effective techniques and strategies.
They got a counter, bro.
Ensuring
man
that
threw
their
how many
athletes had
punches?
access to the most
That don't say 5,000, right?
effective techniques and strategies to win. And with these 5 key principles, it's no wonder the Soviet school of boxing was so successful at the amateur level, and still is to this day. And with more
Damn, that's straight right. I'm telling you guys.
so successful at the amateur level, and
That's
still
straight.
is
It's
to
always the straight punches. He went in. He's off balance.
this day.
Threw him with the straight right.
And with more of these fighters
Straight
turning
left.
pro over the years,
Right,
we've seen
straight
so
right.
many dominate and compete at the highest level, just like Dmitry Bivo, a man that was shaped by this system. But now that we've gone over the system of Soviet boxing, let's see how Dmitry Bivol still implements this into his
Oh
training
my god.
regimen to this day.
Bill's training schedule.
Now, when doing my research for this breakdown, I had to watch quite a lot of Russian podcasts and
I'm glad that
interviews.
Bivol getting the
Wow,
recognition he
sorry,
deserves,
I don't know
man.
where that came from.
He's a great boxer,
While I was
man.
able to find some hidden
He's like the
gems in
master
it,
of Soviet
it was
Union
quite
right
hard
now.
to nail down the complete training schedule of Bivol, as quite often this would change throughout his camp, including the length and the intensity of each
never
session,
seen
or
that.
even how many he would do in a day. However, I have drawn up an example of what a typical day might look like from the information I've got. Dima is said to get up around 80
8 in the morning, gets up and have a morning walk. 8:30 breakfast. 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. rest/sleep. 11 to 30 a.m. one training session. Morning run, boxing, or as
p.m. go up for his morning walk before having his breakfast at around 8:30.
This is pretty
Between
common
9
right
and
here.
10:30 a.m. you'd actually go back
For a
and rest or
professional
sleep
boxer.
even, and sometimes it wouldn't be about till 11:30 where he'd have his first training session, whether that be a morning run, boxing, or strength and conditioning. After his training session around 12:30, he would have a shower and lunch.
Damn,
and
this is
between 1
dedication, though. You guys don't understand like what these guys go through. Like, just being as an amateur fighter too. All my boys know, like, it's like a lifestyle, bro. It's not really like a sport. Like, it's literally a fucking lifestyle. And this is what it takes to be like the best right here. He don't sleep until 10 p.m. He wake up back at what time was that? Back at 8. 8 hours of sleep, perfect. And he just locked in for the rest of the
At
day.
3 p.m. he would just rest or have a massage. If he was to have 2 boxing sessions, this would be in the afternoon
recovery
between 3 and 4
process is just as
p.m.
important.
and this would mainly be boxing training or strength and conditioning. Between 5 and 6 he'd have his dinner, Then once again he would just rest
It's
and
pretty
he'd be
common
asleep
right
by
here.
10 p.m. However, I just want to make it clear that even outside of camp, Bivol is consistently keeping himself in shape.
Yes,
While the
sir.
intensity may not be the
Stay
same
ready,
as
you
when
gotta
he's in camp doing
be
2
ready for you,
sessions
you
a
gotta
day,
stay ready,
he's
whatever
never
how
blowing
it
up in
goes.
weight while always keeping sharp with his technique.
Bivo's trainer.
I just want to touch on Gennady Mazhinov, who has been Bivol's trainer throughout his professional career. Now, as much as Azayev was a crucial part in Bivol's development, it was Gennady Mazhinov who always had the belief that he could go far in the sport.
old.
And before going pro, Azayev apparently
Bro, you walk
who
into a
always had
boxing gym, bro, and you see a coach just like this right here. Gray hair, bald, bro. Fucking dad belly and shit. And he's holding the pad still. Just know that he knows his
the
knowledge.
belief that he could go far in
And
the
take
sport. And
advantage.
before going pro,
Take
Azayev
advantage.
apparently said to Bivol, "You are a winner, but I only work with champions," even despite all the success Bivol had with him. But Mazhinov convinced him to go professional, and he has been one of the key reasons Bivol has been so successful and strict for his whole professional career thus far. Bivol said the following about him: "Fighters often say a coach is like a second father. For some of
Okay.
them, it's just a father. And these are not just words. A trainer is a
Okay.
person who often puts his own life in second place for you. Despite the fact it's a
so
boxer
true.
who enters the ring, their task is easier
is
than
so
that of
true,
a
bro.
trainer. A fighter
Find
needs to
that one
stick
trainer
to
that
a
really believes in you.
fight plan. He knows what to do because the trainer told him exactly what to do. But there is no one who tells the trainer what to do.
If you got
He
a
needs to
trainer
try
that
see the
believes in you, bro, he's
situation
telling
from
you all the
all
right
angles,
things, all the right
analyze a
advice,
large amount of
stick with it.
information,
If
consider
they see
and
something
take
that you
into
can't
account
see,
the
that's the whole
smallest
purpose of
details.
even having the
After
trainer.
the victory, the lion's share of the fame goes to the fighter. Fans send him messages via social media, journalists want to talk to him, and the trainer's work often remains in the shadows. I don't understand those who say that in boxing
That's
they
so
have achieved
true.
everything themselves. There's no good
Trainers don't
boxer
really get
without a good trainer,
the most
and I'm
respect,
grateful
like
for the many
the
years I met
credibility and
Gennady
everything.
Mazhinov.
They don't want that
Without
your
him,
favorite
I
fighters.
wouldn't have achieved what I have achieved. And the fact this comes from Dmitry
training
Bivol
is hard.
himself
Like,
just
training
shows
people
you
is
the
actually
value
hard.
he places on him, as
Takes a lot of
Mazhinov
patience.
has been one of the key figures for Bivol in his career. Very interestingly, Bivol also brought in Joel Diaz when he was taking on Canelo, as he wanted to get more insight to learn the Mexican style of boxing. And it just shows you that Bivol is someone who is
Mexican
very
style
open
boxing.
to learn from other trainers
One of the best
and
styles right
backgrounds.
there.
But now let's look
My
at the
style.
individual
My
elements
type of
of all
style.
his training.
Cardio. Key part in
Now,
boxing.
Bivol tries to do his morning runs, but this is something he finds very boring, and like most, would much prefer to be in the gym practicing his craft. However, he does recognize it's a very important part of his training.
Yeah, I usually I do running, but not every day.
Usually. Not
Do you
every
like
day.
running?
I hate
Hell
running.
no.
To be
Some
honest,
fighters love
I
it, some
hate
fighters
running.
hate it. Why do you hate it?
Hate
It's
it.
boring.
it's really boring. Yeah,
This
it's
is
not
boring.
interesting. It's boring. But
Try running 5 miles a
I
day.
try
Every day.
to
Every day.
make my running like
Shin splits and
prayer.
everything.
You know, like
Meditation, yeah.
well, it's meditation for me.
Meditation,
I'm
yeah.
running and meditating. Meditating.
A couple
And there has been
Staying
clips of
focused.
him running in big groups,
Clears your
potentially
mind,
to
though.
help him get past the boredom. And Dmitry also does a lot of elevated hill runs as well,
Man,
which
you gonna tell
obviously
me you
help
get
enhance
bored
muscle
of
strength,
that view right
cardiovascular
there?
endurance, and
I'm in
speed,
Florida.
while
It is
fostering
straight
that mental
flat.
resilience, adding that little bit more intensity to his training and overall fitness. While obviously he'll use jump rope as well. This is usually before a boxing session starts to get himself warmed up, while sometimes he'll do it at the end of a session for a warm down. Interestingly though, he doesn't do things like swimming, as I've covered with other Eastern Bloc fighters such as Lomachenko and Usyk. While I've
never
also
did
noticed at the
swimming.
end of his runs he might tend to do a bit of shadow boxing
I gotta start
alongside
doing
this
it.
as well. No doubt to keep things fresh for him.
Boxing training. That's what we came here for.
Now for boxing training, one of the first
Good
things
gym. You walk into a gym, you see all the cardio machines, this box thing on the floor, a bunch of like old school pictures right here, flags. You're in like a dog.
Dmitry
dog
does
house.
before he even starts
You're in a doghouse.
is stretching. Now, this is often an overlooked area of anyone's training.
Yeah,
This is something
stretching.
I've also been guilty of in the past.
Stretching
Warm
is
up.
so important. Let me tell you why stretching is so important. I was boxing I took it really serious for a year. And as I was starting to feel it more and more, I tore my labrum, right? And that's because I avoided stretching. It's so important.
You're like the
to
Matrix,
stretch.
very flexible. You can touch your ankle,
So
stuff that's not
important.
easy
It's so important to
for
stretch.
you, but for most fighters, they're very stiff.
Yeah, maybe because I stretch usually every time.
As stretching is essential for boxers to enhance their
Damn.
flexibility, while it also aids in muscle recovery while reducing soreness after training sessions or fights. I actually think stretching as a pre-fight or pre-training ritual and getting yourself focused and mentally ready for what is ahead. Now, after stretching and doing his jump rope, Dmitry will go straight into shadowboxing in most cases, working to
Shadowboxing.
practice on his technique, often using footwork and
Very
that in and out
important.
movement. We see him using
Very important.
fights,
Shadowboxing
consistently
is-
just
is
working
so
on those
overlooked
basic
at-
combinations
it's so
that
overlooked
have made him so
nowadays.
effective over the
It is
years.
crazy.
While sometimes we'll see him shadowbox in
It's
front
like
of
a
the mirror,
dance.
allowing him to refine his technique in real time. By seeing his
Staying on the
movements
balls of your
reflected,
feet.
he can identify and correct
He off the
errors in
ground
his
just
form,
slightly,
footwork,
not on your
and punch
tippy toes.
accuracy.
It's-
And personally, I
it's
think
beautiful.
shadowboxing in front of a mirror just gives you that visual feedback and self-awareness that helps you develop correct technique
And those are
even
like
mental focus.
non-boxing
Well,
fans.
interestingly, when he's out
You
in
guys
his
won't
runs,
understand like
he'll even do
shadowboxing.
fly
It
catching
looks stupid,
while
but
shadowboxing.
and it's
And this was
boring,
actually
but it
something the
helps.
legendary heavyweight Joe Louis would do. Under the
He's
guided
catching a
shadowboxing.
fly? Hold on.
And this was actually something the legendary heavyweight Joe Louis would do under the
Wow.
guidance of his trainer Chappie Blackburn. You have to wonder if such techniques have inspired him to do this
That's
at
like
the
a
time.
old school. That's old
Of
school.
course,
Joe-
like every
Joe
fighter,
Louis,
the heavy
greatest
bag
boxer.
is crucial.
Greatest technical
And this has
boxer.
been a key tool within the Soviet
got a whole
system
book.
for many years now. Obviously here, Dmitry is able to work on his power and conditioning. But just like any great champion, he's not continually planting his feet just banging at the bag. He's actually moving around using combinations,
Sir.
treating it as if it's an opponent.
Sir, that's important. Getting the angles right. Getting all the angles. Don't just
Next
stay
up,
in one
we
spot
have
all
some
day.
reaction bags,
Oh, double
including the
end bag.
double end bag and cobra bag. Now what I find interesting when looking at the old school Soviet boxing documentaries is they use something very similar to the cobra bag, even all the way back then.
Oh wow.
But for Dmitry Bivol using these bags, you can tell it really helps to work on his rhythm in terms of that in and out movement and
Yes,
use
sir.
of the pendulum to set
Rhythm.
up his power punches, while also being defensively
the only-
responsible
that's
while
the
using
key to
it,
these bags
slipping
right
and
here.
sliding as he throws
The
his
straight
punches.
rhythm. It
And it's
helps
an
with
absolute thing
any
of
bag,
beauty
actually.
seeing him use it as he shows off complete precision and focus while using these bags. Then we have mitt work.
Network. Damn. Those guys
Obviously-
are coming from a mile away. That's just like so satisfying about this style.
Obviously, he uses this mostly with Majdanov. However, this is where he's really able to get off those combinations, where you'll often see him use a
You
combination.
see what I mean? You walk into a boxing gym, you see an old man just like that with a beer belly. All of the stickers on the wall. I don't know, but they're probably partnerships or something. And all the flags, bro. You're in a doghouse, man.
Of his straight
Telling you
punches,
right now,
mixed in
you're
with
in
that
a
Soviet
doghouse.
hook before getting out of range quickly and coming back again.
Especially
While
having an
sometimes
old
you'll
guy in
also
the
see
gym
him
like
use the
that,
punch
like,
shield.
just so much
But what I love
knowledge,
about
man.
Dmitry
They, like,
using the
grew up in
mitts,
the gym.
all just resembles his other training. Whether he's on the bag, shadow boxing, using the cobra bag, it doesn't matter. He always is so disciplined and keeps within his form when using any of these training tools. It's like the good old saying, train as you fight and fight as you train. It makes it far more realistic, and although it's repetitive, it no doubt trains that muscle memory, so it becomes instinctive
It's
by the
so
time
beautiful.
it comes to
Look at
fight
that,
night.
man.
And finally, we have sparring, and this is where Dmitry is able to put together all his other training. And quite often, Majdanov will try and
Sparring
bring
is important,
sparring
too.
partners
Don't
that
overlook
actually
sparring. In the
resemble
beginning of
his
the gym,
upcoming
don't overlook
opponent. And as I mentioned before, when they brought in Joe Diaz to help
I damn
Bivol in
near
his
seeing guys in the gym that'll hit a bag as hard as they can, and when they get into the ring for the first time sparring, they'll just leave. Like, it'll never come back. Like grown men, kids. like, all
preparation for
kinds of people.
Canelo. This was one of the key things they did, who fought in that aggressive high guard style, as Diaz said the
that Canelo?
following. They told me, we're going to bring him here and we want to teach him the Mexican style. Europeans lack that fang. When they fall in the clinch, they don't know what to do, and they wanted me to teach them all that. In sparring, we would stop sparring, and I would tell them, what does Canelo do? I know
Damn,
him,
look
he's a
at
good
those
fighter.
combinations.
Canelo tries to dominate you, but if you frustrate him,
Canelo
he
just
loses his
stays.
mind because of the
That's not
courage
Canelo,
that
that's
Mexicans
Canelo,
have.
right?
The plan
Yeah,
against
that's
Canelo was to keep him away with the jab, not to let him come in. When the sparring partners came, we told them, do it like Canelo, like you go in and out, because Canelo has good waist movement, and with the pure jab, and when he wants to hit you downstairs, step back. When the first round started, Bivol with his pure jab I saw Canelo had a red forehead. I saw that he stepped back and kind of snorted. That's when I thought, Canelo is already angry. He's already frustrated. Now obviously Bivol went on to get a unanimous decision in that fight. But it's the training and the sparring that he did in preparation for that fight, which no doubt helped him get that victory.
Unanimous decision is crazy. He's piecing him up. God damn. Strength and conditioning.
Now for Dima's strength and conditioning is overseen by the renowned coach Taylor Randall, whom he has worked with for many years. And Randall incorporates a diverse array of exercises into Bivol's training regimen, including isometric, plyometric, speed and strength exercises. The regimen features the use of medicine balls, trap bar jumps, banded isolated drills, and rotational core work.
Right,
but what stands out about Randall's approach is that in every movement and focus in his strength and conditioning program is designed to make Dmitry stronger and more powerful by the time he steps into the ring. And Randall emphasizes improving the balance and the kinetic chain through these exercises he uses. While some critics claim that Dmitry lacks the power, I personally believe this perception stems from his relatively smaller size for a light heavyweight. However, his in-ring performances demonstrate that he possesses respectable power, and I generally believe that these exercises designed by Randall play a significant role in enhancing his overall strength and power. And here's an interesting clip of Randall discussing how he integrates Bivol's strength and conditioning into his boxing training.
Walk us through what a camp looks like.
Well, first off, there's really no, secret sauce. We can just Dmitry Bivo. We'll talk about his camp, and for him, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday are kind of like the heavy days, because Monday, Wednesday, Friday he spars and he works with me as well. Mondays and Wednesdays we do more strength type training, but the way that I do my training, because you only have so much time, so you have to be efficient. You have to reduce the amount of risk as far as injuries go and all of this. So I do a lot of both contrast training and then overspeed training. So with strength training is whenever you're pushing against gravity, and in whatever way you're producing force, that is going to increase power because it's part of that formula. So the camp, Monday and Wednesday is more of that stuff, the strength, resting in between, we're building muscle. Then Fridays we usually do a little bit of sprinting at the end. It's kind of a sprint day, but even then it's short. As you get closer to the fight, trying to think easy ways to explain it. So think of the volume in the beginning is really high and the intensity is low. And then as you get closer and closer to the fight, it's kind of the intensity increases and the volume gets smaller. So right before the end, it's like we're at the highest intensity, but the lowest volume. And the lowest volume can be duration of a session, or it may be just the amount of work that you do. So those are Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tuesday, usually boxing with the coach. Thursday is kind of a light, easy day.
Staying on your toes like that,
feels like running, maybe a jog, maybe a walk, maybe not. Saturday is a longer run.
Once you start doing it over and over, it's just easy.
And that's it.
It's easy. Recovery and diet. This is the overlooks part right here, bro. This is why most of you guys are not getting good at the gym or anything. The diet and recovery process is just as important as that's the hardest part.
Another crucial part, obviously, is Dmitry's recovery, which includes properly warming down and stretching before and after training, improving circulation and reducing soreness, ensuring he maintains peak performance throughout his fight camp. Another key element in maintaining his performance throughout training camp is receiving full body massages, which can occur after or between training sessions.
That'll be nice.
With yourself, is there someone that's part of your
team?
So
for Bivol, he has a guy's name's Ilya, and he is a massage therapist and he's a doctor, all this stuff. So he does massage and stretching. So almost every day, he gets massage or stretched or whatever it is. So that is a huge addition. That's very, very beneficial. It's so important to let your body recover, even if it's just one time a week, but minimum one time a week.
Interestingly, Bivol revealed in an interview that he uses an acupressure mat with spikes before going to sleep. And the mat obviously stimulates acupressure points, promoting relaxation and reducing muscle tension and improving the blood flow, all of which contribute him to having a better sleep and recovery. And regarding Bivol's diet, well, there's very limited concrete information from what I could find, but he has mentioned he likes to try all different types of food, but to try and maintain a healthy diet and lifestyle outside the ring.
Balance.
Что ты любишь покушать из
You can tell you can
традиционной
Chick-fil-A.
еды?
Я вообще люблю повеселиться, особенно поесть. То есть я все люблю на самом деле. Я такой всеядный. То есть у меня нет каких-то сильных там...
Вес.
Не сложно. У меня с весом проблем не было никогда. То есть диета... Ну, как диета. Правильное питание просто во время тренировочного лагеря, и я подхожу к своему весу боевому.
Как твой вес? Вот сегодня был 174.6, по-моему, да?
Не, конечно же, да. Перед, за несколько дней до взвешивания, конечно же, чуть-чуть урезаешь там еду, там воду, разумеется, нужно убрать, да.
And since he generally fights at his natural weight, he doesn't undergo massive weight cuts like other fighters. He also takes things like multivitamins, and when traveling, he uses melatonin to help with his sleep and recovery.
Oh, melatonin is like one of those things that, I don't know, I can't take.
And one of the final aspects I want to talk about, and arguably maybe the most important, is his mindset. And the notable aspect about Dmitry's personality is that he's consistently calm and collected in his demeanour. He embodies a stoic mindset, remaining composed and focused, which is likely influenced by the Soviet boxing system where he honed his skills. Dmitry is not flashy, he sees things for what they are. For instance, in the build-up to his fight with Canelo Alvarez, many were portraying Alvarez as if he was some monster that could knock out anyone. Dmitry, though, remained unfazed by the hype and focused on the reality of the situation.
Most of people think about him like he's untouchable, or he's unstoppable, or he has enough power to beat super heavyweights. Sometimes it's funny.
Additionally, Bivol is a reader of psychology, and he takes an interest in these concepts throughout his training camp, making sure he's always got a book at hand. For example, he's read The Power of Now, a book about being present in the moment. In boxing in particular, being present and aware is crucial, no doubt contributing to his disciplined approach to the sport. And finally, I saw an interesting Instagram post by BoxRaw CEO Ben Amana, who recently got the chance to train with Dmitry and used the opportunity to ask him what motivated him in doing the hard things when he doesn't feel like doing them. He said he doesn't want to be afraid when he's in the locker room before the fight, thinking he could have done more. The pain of now versus the pain of regret. And as Ben said, that shit hit me deep. From the outside looking in, yes, Dmitry may not have the biggest personality in the sport, but it shows you he does care about the work he puts in the lead up to a fight. As you know, you have to put everything into your training. As if you know you've done your absolute all, you will know you'll have no excuses come fight night. Overall, from watching all the champions that I've done thus far, Dmitry Bivol is without question one of the most disciplined and hardworking athletes I've seen. On the surface, it may not look like much, but there's a reason he's become one of the top fighters pound for pound. Influenced by that elegant yet systematic Soviet style, he has honed it through rigorous training and relentless effort, while also prioritizing his recovery and mental fortitude, while recognizing the importance of having a good team around you, setting him apart from other champions. And that is why so many are so intrigued and interested to box and train.
W video. Yeah, Bivo trains. Huh.